Welcome all my chalalas and dragon heads once again for another episode of Yo. I am your host, the 10,000 power level man himself, Kai OT Oracle in some circles, Kai Oracle, whatever you want to do, Kai Oracle, we can do that. It doesn't matter. Here's the situation. Today we're gonna be talking about Mirai Gohan, and how I believe that Mirai Gohan is the spiritual successor of the one-armed boxer and the Dragon verse, the Dragon World universe. Uh, if you pay attention, if you've been watching Dragon Ball since the very beginning, all my OG Dragon Heads, all my OG Chalalas, you know what I'm saying. If you've been watching it from that very, very beginning, you will understand that obviously Dragon Ball is Kung Fu. And if you cross reference Dragon Ball with other classic cinematic kung fu films, like I'm talking Shaw Brothers, I'm talking Golden Harvest, that type of thing. Within kung fu cinema, there are classic kung fu cinema tropes. I'm talking about my Zatorichis, I'm talking about my ninjas, I'm talking about my Shaolin monks, I'm talking about my Wu Tangs, I'm talking about my llamas, also my dark llamas. The list goes on and on and on and on, like the break of dawn. And within these tropes, you have the classic one-armed boxer, which I believe Gohan, Mirai Gohan, personifies perfectly. We see some of the characters in Dragon Ball displaying some of these classic kung fu cinema tropes. For example, Master Roshi, Mutan Roshi, if you will. Obviously, he is the classic, old man, turtle hermit. I'm like just an old guy. I'm an old, horny, pervert guy, and I do kung fu, but I'm actually the fucking strongest in the whole world, and I'm immortal, that whole thing. You have the entire saga of Dragon Ball itself, which is based on Journey to the West, some classic Chinese literature. And kung fu cinema is just not restricted to the cinema. Technically, you can argue that kung fu cinema also extends through narrative, books, scrolls, things of that nature. Because before cinematic excellence was created, before we had films, before we had movies, all these stories, what we know as kung fu, was passed on through either oral tradition or it was written on paper in books preserved in scrolls. So technically, book learning was the very first foundation of kung fu cinema. And if we're going to go that route, Journey to the West definitely is kung fu. Even if you were going to adopt Journey into the West on the film world, then obviously Journey to the West, of all the movie genres, is probably going to fit best within kung fu, that whole scope. You could say it's a drama, but it's most likely going to be like a kung fu narrative drama. That being said, let's get back to Mirai Gohan, One Arm Boxer. If you've ever seen the film One Arm Boxer, you know the plot pretty well. One Arm Boxer, he's a dude, used to have two arms, got his ass kicked. Within that ass beaten, lost one of his arms, got stronger though, came back, whooped tons of ass, and went on through many other films just whooping ass with one arm. Whooped so much ass that he got a reputation, a name for himself. Bada bing, bada boom, the one arm boxer. Does this sound familiar to anyone else? Cause to me, this sounds exactly like Mirai Gohan. Minus a few things. Obviously, Mirai Gohan had two arms. He fought the strongest dudes of his era, the androids 17 and 18, got wrecked by 17 and 18. lost an arm in that process, and came back stronger, one arm. He didn't win the fight, but obviously, if you're watching his performance from two arms to one arm, he obviously got that Zenkai boost. He obviously got a little bit stronger. Unfortunately, he was not the hero. He did not prevail in the end. But either way, I still feel like he definitely earned that reputation of one-armed boxer. In that, Dragon Heads and Chalalas concludes this short but sweet episode. I gotta get out of here before the room service decides they want to bust in again. As I'm trying to make this cinematic excellence. But until then, keep rocking. Blah 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 and blah blah blah. This has been the 10,000 Power Level Man signing out. P.S. Now that I'm thinking about it, and now that I got a little bit more free time to ramble my gamble, I'm thinking, was the act of Gohan losing his arm, was that like a symbolic throwback to his sensei, Mr. Piccolo? For all my Dragon Heads and Chalalas, you know that Mr. Piccolo was Gohan's sensei and father, if you will, but we're not gonna go that far. We're just gonna say, we're gonna say sensei. But anyway, we all know that Piccolo was Gohan's sensei. Gohan inherited the demon school of martial arts from Piccolo, and not the Kami school martial arts from his father. If this was like an episode of Cobra Kai, this will be like Johnny Larson's son inheriting Miyagi-Do from Daniel's son instead of Cobra Kai from his father. It's pretty much the same situation but reversed. So Gohan inherited his father's rival's martial arts style, the demon style, instead of his father's style. But we all know, like in every major fucking fight that Piccolo has ever been in, bam, somebody fucking cuts his arm off. There's always something going on with this dude's arm. This dude is like losing arms left and right, like gangbusters. So, Piccolo is always losing an arm. The thing though is Piccolo's Namekian, so it's not a thing for him to lose an arm. He can instantly just regrow it. Bada bing, bada boom, man. It's not a big deal. Gohan, on the other hand, is not Namekian. He is a Saiyan. So when he loses an arm, it's for keeps. It is for keeps. I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know if, that was like supposed to be a throwback to Piccolo or whatever. Either way, Dragon Heads, Chalalas, this has been the 10,000 Power Level Man. Woo! Signing out for real this time. Catch me if you can. You probably can't, but you can try.
Drive slow, homie.
Mic check! Mic check!
Mic check!
They shooting! Right, bro. Kids, I'm